They put me in the proving round on a Tuesday, in front of 40 cadets and 2 inspectors from the Central Registry, because Proctor Voke wanted a clean washout on the record before lunch. I want to be fair about it. I understood why. I'd failed the reflex trials twice, and the strength bar once, and I was the only cadet in my cohort without a single augment, because augments cost money my family didn't have. I spent my maintenance shop hours instead, elbow deep in coolant manifolds and servo housings, which is not a skill anyone puts on a promotion board. Voke had called me the manual labor in front of the whole barracks, not unkindly, just factually, the way you'd note a machine was running on the wrong fuel. Nobody had argued with him. Nobody usually did. So when the washout board came up short a name, mine went on it, and I heard about it the way you hear about weather. Already decided, already moving in, nothing to be done but stand in it. The proving round doesn't wash you out with paperwork. It washes you out with a beast, and everybody in the barracks knew it by the time I finished my shift that morning. A few of them looked at me the way you look at someone already gone. Nobody offered to walk down with me. I didn't blame them for that either. They brought guests up from the lower pens on a hauling chain, and the whole gallery went quiet, the way a room goes quiet around something it's ashamed of. He was a Vrehund, a terror-hound, built long and low with a ridge of bone quills down his spine that lay flat when he was calm and stood up like a war crown when he wasn't. He wasn't calm. He'd been kept lean on purpose. Voke liked his washout beasts hungry, said it sharpened the lesson, and his ribs showed through a coat the color of wet ash. He'd killed a cadet 2 years back, an actual kill, and they'd never retired him. They just fed him less and used him more. Voke stood at the rail and told the inspectors this was a controlled evaluation of instinct under pressure, that the hound would test whether I had any predator in me at all, and if I didn't, well, better to learn it here than in the field, where it would cost more than a grade. He said it like a kindness. Some of the cadets laughed. The way you laugh when you're relieved it isn't you. I walked out onto the sand anyway, because the alternative was to be dragged out, and I'd decided a long time ago I wasn't going to give anyone that show. Guest came off the chain low and fast, quills up, and every animal instinct I had told me to run, and I didn't, because running is what prey does, and I had already decided, somewhere between the barracks and the rail, that I wasn't going to perform being prey for an audience that had already written my ending. I stopped about 4 meters out. I put my hands where he could see them, empty, and I did the only thing I actually know how to do, which is talk to something hurting, like it's a machine that's overheating, and not a threat that needs answering. Low, flat, no music in it. Easy, I said. I'm not here to hurt you. Nobody's here to hurt you. Just breathe a second. He didn't stop, but he slowed. His head came down an inch, still reading me, still deciding, the quills trembling instead of locked. I could hear the gallery holding its breath like one animal. I kept talking, the same low nothing, the way I'd talk to a stalled engine, the way I'd talk to anything running hot and scared, and about to break something it didn't mean to break. You're hungry, I said. That's not your fault. Somebody made a choice about you a long time before I walked out here, and it wasn't a fair one, and I know a little about that. He stopped 6 feet away, close enough that I could count the scars on his muzzle, old fight pit lines, the kind that don't come from training. His quills went down, not all at once, but in a wave, back to front, like a held breath letting out. And then he did something I don't think the proving round had ever recorded in its logs, because Voke's face told me it hadn't. He lowered himself to the sand, chin first, the whole long weight of him, folding down in front of me like something laying down a weapon. I crouched. I put one hand flat on the crown of his head, between the quills, where the bone hadn't grown yet. He let me. His eyes were amber and exhausted and, for the first time since they'd dragged him out of that pen, not looking for an exit or a throat, just looking at me. Okay, I told him. Okay, I've got you. The gallery didn't laugh anymore. Voke's voice, when it came, had lost its kindness. He called it a fluke, a training defect, a hound gone soft from years in the pens and no longer fit to evaluate anything. He said the test was compromised. He said, and I remember this exactly, because it was the sentence that ended him, that command wouldn't accept a washout board undermined by one broken animal choosing badly, and that he would correct the result himself. He sent in 3 cadets, real ones, Corvette cadets, the reptilian armored kind, augmented top to bottom, top of the combat rankings. Sarek, Ajin, and a third whose name I never got, because I never needed it again. Voke told them this was a correction drill. Subdue the hound, remove the cadet from the sand, restore the result. He said it like paperwork. He didn't say kill. He didn't have to. Guest was up before they cleared the rail. I want to tell you it was heroic. It wasn't. It was fast, and it was quiet in the way real violence is quiet. No roaring, no theater, just economy. He took Sarek's leg out from under him before the man's boots found the sand. Ajin got one strike in, armored gauntlet against a jaw that didn't care, and then didn't get a second one. The third cadet ran, which was the only correct decision made in that entire drill, and Guest let him, because I said, "That's enough," in the same flat voice I'd used on him from the start, and he stopped like a machine taking a shutdown command. He came back and put himself between me and the rail, quills up again, but not for me this time. For them. 14 seconds. Somebody in the gallery had actually timed it, because by that evening, the whole garrison was calling it the 14-second verdict, and the phrase stuck the way the true ones do, not because command coined it, but because 40 cadets had watched it happen and needed a name for what they'd seen. Voke stood at that rail in front of 2 Central Registry inspectors, watching his correction drill get correctional in return. And there is no dignified way to lose in front of people you outrank. He tried anyway. He said something about liability, about the hound being decommissioned, about reviewing the incident. One of the inspectors, an older woman with a quiet, unimpressed face, asked him instead why a hound with 2 years of documented aggression had been starved and staged as a washout tool in the first place, and whether that decision would also be part of the review. Voke didn't have an answer that survived being said out loud. I watched him understand that in real time, in front of the whole garrison, and I felt no triumph about it. Just the tired, clean relief of a thing finally landing where it should have landed from the start. They didn't decommission Guest. The inspectors saw to that personally, and saw to a few other things besides, quietly, the way real corrections happen, instead of the loud kind Voke had wanted. He was reassigned to the working kennels under my name, on the grounds, official grounds, in writing, that no other handler had ever gotten a response out of him. That part was true. It just wasn't the part they thought it was. Voke stayed on another 2 months, technically, doing paperwork nobody read, and standing at rails nobody watched him stand at. Then he transferred out to a records post on some cold rock nobody requests, and the garrison stopped saying his name within a season, the way you stop saying the name of a proctor who lost the room in 14 seconds in front of Central Registry. He sleeps outside my bunk door now, which is against 6 regulations I've stopped reading. He's put on 11 kilos. His quills lie flat most days, and when they don't, all it takes is my hand on that bare patch of bone between them, and the low, flat voice I still use on him, like he's an engine running a little hot. Every cadet in this garrison who used to laugh when they walked past me, now goes quiet instead. The same quiet the gallery went that Tuesday, because they've all done the math on 14 seconds, and none of them like the answer. Sarek still limps a little in cold weather. He nods at me now when we pass. I nod back. There's no need to make it more than that. I still talk to him like he's an engine running a little hot. He still listens like I'm the only order that's ever mattered. Easy, I tell him. Most mornings. For no reason at all. Just to hear him settle. Easy, buddy. Nobody's here to hurt you. Nobody ever tries twice.